Okay, if there is anybody out there, please tell me if you can see and hear me. Okay, I don't think there are any viewers. So I'm going to post the link all over social media and be like, hey, come help. Okie dokie 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 dokie. Um, okay, in case nobody shows up, I'm just going to record this like I would a normal YouTube video. So, hi everybody, how you doing? It's a little dark, so I'm going to Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So, hi guys. This is me testing out uh my live stream for the first time. Um there's a lot I don't know about live streaming, and there aren't a whole lot of answers. When I tried to go looking for them, it seems people already know how this shit works and doesn't explain it to people. So I'm just going to make it work, and I'm going to learn on my feet. I'm going to learn as I go. Um, I can hopefully post the recording of this live stream later on and say, hey, can anybody help me with these issues? Because one of the issues I have is I want to have two different camera angles when I'm assuming I need a second camera for that, but obviously I don't have that yet. So now all you guys have to look at is my ugly mug. Sorry. But we're going to try to make it work. Um yeah, I don't there's a lot of this stuff that I don't understand. And I tried using um YouTube's live stream dashboard that's in beta, and for some reason that was doing sound but not video. I don't know why. I had cleared the dashboard to use my webcam earlier. I don't know what happened. Whatever. Um and then eventually I would like a top down of my desktop and maybe even view of my computer as required. So, there's that. So, what we're going to be doing today is I had an idea some time ago. I say some time ago, literally 2 days ago. Um, I am super huge into tarot cards right now. And I thought to myself, how can I incorporate tarot cards and writing all in one piece? And I came up with the idea of let's let the tarot cards decide my next story in terms of its own plot line. So I'm going to be drawing cards, and they're each going to represent something different. And I have an original tarot spread for this that I made, but I don't have the room on my desk to copy that spread. So I'm just going to draw the cards as needed and just lay them out one at a time. I'm going to show them to you guys so you guys can see, and so that y'all don't think I'm cheating. And I'm going to write down what cards came. So for the purposes of this, I'm working on a short story for this idea. So I'm going to pull 10 cards. I'm going to go through what each card is supposed to represent in the story. Because it's a short story, I'm only picking 10 cards. If I were doing a full-length novel, I would probably pull something more like 27, but I also don't have the number of cards for that. See, I'm working with the Critical Role tarot card deck. It's very pretty. Which, if for those of you who don't watch Critical Role, it's a live streaming Dungeons and Dragons game with voice actors from the cartoon and anime community. And it's live streams Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have to advertise for it because I love it. But each of the cards are characters. So the Fool is Scanlan Shorthalt, the Gnome Bard, and the World is Matthew Mercer, the Dungeon Master. This deck is only Major Arcana, which means there are only 22 cards. I do not have a full tarot deck. So Major Arcana includes cards like the Death card, the Devil, the High Priestess, the Empress, those kinds of cards. But you're not going to see, the Two of Cups or the Eight of Wands because those aren't in this deck. For the purposes of writing a short story, maybe a bigger deck is not the way to go, and maybe this will be the perfect size for a short story. But I do intend on getting a full-size tarot deck eventually. So there's that. But yeah, I'm just going to be shuffling the cards in front of you guys, because what I've done is I have ordered them from bottom to top, with the Fool on the bottom and the World at the top. So, yeah, I'm going to shuffle them in front of you guys. I'm going to draw 10 cards. The order in which I draw them is going to dictate the story that we're going to write over the next, I'd say, I don't think I can live stream every day. I can try, but I probably can't. So I'm going to say worst case scenario, this is going to take 10 weeks because we all got stuff to do. We all got other books to write. This is just a fun little thing to do, kind of a writing challenge, if you will. So before we get started, I do want to disclose, obviously tarot cards do have kind of a set meaning within the world of tarot, but they also encourage you to kind of get a personal connection with your deck and have personal meanings for your cards. If anybody watches Aphrodite on Twitch, he is a tarot card reader who specifically looks at like celebrities, like YouTube and pop culture celebrities. And while I don't necessarily pay attention to a whole lot of that stuff, I've watched a few of his videos. He's been pretty spot on. But there was one video where he was discussing Logan Paul's very poor choice of going gay for March, because we all know gay is not a choice. It is it is how you're born. But people were starting to wonder, okay, well, is this a way of him trying to say that he is gay without outright saying it? So Aphrodite used his tarot deck that he specifically uses for reading people with sexual orientation. And the very first card he drew was the card that he dictated as the bisexual card. So according to Aphrodite, Logan Paul is bisexual. Go figure. So we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But while I'm going to be using some of the set meanings for these cards, they also have kind of personal meanings to me because of what the show Critical Role means to me. So I'm also going to be interpreting from there on out. If you guys have different interpretations of these cards, or if you guys have different meanings for these cards based off of your relationship to Critical Role, by all means, go ahead, interpret the cards how you will, and write your own story. I would actually love to see that happen. So, I think I covered everything. I have my phone set up with a list of meanings for the major arcana decks according to just the world in general. I also have a little notebook ready to take notes on what cards get drawn where and when, and what they means, and roughly how the story is going to go. So, I think that's it. Let's get started. So, I'm going to start before I shuffle the deck. I'm going to lay my hands on my deck and I'm going to silently ask the cards to show me my next story. Okay. Now, um, the tarot readers that I have looked up and read about encourage that you wake up the cards before you do anything. So I'm just going to tap on the cards. It's like an ASMR video. I wonder if they have ASMR tarot readings. That'd kind of be cool. Okay, now I'm going to shuffle the cards, and I have a specific way to shuffle them. You guys aren't really going to see it because you can't see my desktop. But I shuffle the cards 3 times. And as I'm shuffling them, I'm trying to flip them around a little bit because reversed tarot cards also have their own meanings. So I'm trying to make it more probable and more diverse in tarot's meaning. Okay, so I'm going to cut the deck into 3 piles, and then I'm going to rearrange those piles. And I believe we are ready to draw our first card, which is going to be our character. Okay, so the first card is the High Priestess reversed. Now this is Pike Trickfoot from Critical Role. Pike Trickfoot is the gnome cleric. She's very sweet. She's very gentle. You don't want to make her mad, but she's definitely one of the cinnamon. No, not one of the cinnamon rolls. She is the cinnamon roll. When I think about these cards reversed, I do think about what are the negative aspects of the characters. Um, Pike Pike doesn't have a whole lot of necessarily negative characteristics about her. She's not very dexterous, but that's partially because of her plate armor. Can't be quiet for crap in that thing. I think she carries the weight of the world on her shoulders, and she thinks she's supposed to be able to save everyone, and I don't think she will be able to. So, um, imagine if Joan of Arc were happy and fun. Yeah, a fun and happy Joan of Arc. So, uh, that's my personal meaning to the reversed High Priestess of this particular deck. Let us see what they usually mean for the High Priestess. Okay, the High Priestess reverse usually means you have a lack of center, a loss of an inner voice, and maybe some repressed feelings. Okay, so I feel like we have a main character with a couple of secrets, and I feel like the cards are trying to say go with a woman. So our I'm not going to say hero, I'm going to say main character because they might be an anti-hero, you never know. Uh Female who kind of sacrifices her own well-being for others, almost to a fault. Okay, let me quickly look at my list here. Okay, so the next card we're going to draw is the Stasis card. So this is what life is going to be like for our main character at the beginning of the story. That is the Empress reversed. Okay, so this is, I believe, I want to say Lyra. So Felicia Day guested on Critical Role back during its first year on stream, and she played, I want to say she was a wizard, but she played a magic user who uh kind of a bumbling idiot, not kind of awkward, kind of rough around the edges, and who really had a hard time earning her place in the guild that she was a part of. She was essentially just regulated to being the secretary. So Lyra's got a lot of faults in terms of like the fact that this is reversed. We have to think of her faults. So maybe she is underappreciated at her job. So maybe the our main character in our story is underappreciated at their job. According to the tarot deck, uh normal meaning, the reversed empress usually means there's a dependence, a smothering, an emptiness, or a noisiness. I could see that. Um she could be kind of low on the totem pole in her life at her job and not really have any joy in the world. Okay, the next card we're going to draw is the inciting incident. This is what's going to get the ball rolling. Okay, that is the moon, and that is upright. This is Zara, the tiefling warlock, played by the wonderful Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Zara is definitely one of my best guest player characters because she is very sassy. I think she's the first player character tiefling we had seen in the stream, and that's when we all realized tieflings were awesome as shit. She's very mysterious. She's a little snarky sometimes, but she has this grand affinity for the nighttime, and she's actually a very empathic character. So maybe what would be the inciting incident of Zara? Well, Zara's what kind of got Zara going was that her, dare I say, abusive father died, and that's how she kind of got started on her adventures. So maybe it's trying to say dad dies. Let's see what the typical meaning for the moon card is. Okay, okay. The moon, the moon, the moon, the moon, the moon. Okay. The moon usually means unconsciousness, illusions, or intuition. So we can either have our main character's father die, or we can have intuition kind and illusions take her away. Hmm. Maybe an intuition that the dad is going to die? Let's combine it. Okay. So the next card we're going to draw is the companion card. So this is going to be a character that our main character meets along the way or starts their journey off with in its entirety. So let's see what the cards tell us. Okay. So this is Temperance reversed. This is Care, or Carrick is his full name. And he was a good character. This guy was played by Patrick Rothfuss on Critical Role. Kind of a mentor to the very doubtful Keyleth, and he is a paladin who's not really gone adventuring in a long time. He's kind of just been a blacksmith and is acting kind of as uh peacekeeper in the town, I guess, is the best way to put it, after some disasters happen. So, Carrick Carrick, opposite of, Lyra, doesn't have a whole lot of negative qualities. I think the biggest one is that he's filled with self-doubt and regret. Those are the 2 that I can best imply. So, we're probably they're probably telling the cards are probably telling us that we need an elder who has gone on the journey that the main character is about to go on and is there to prevent them from making the same mistakes that they made in their life. Let us take a look at what temperance usually means when it is upright or reversed. Sorry. Okay, reverse temperance usually means extremes, excess, or lack of balance. Um, yeah, I like the idea of having an elder who goes with the main character to prevent them from making the same mistakes that they did. Okay, perfect. We're on a roll here, guys. So now we're going to talk about the rising action. We're going to see what the cards want to have happen as the journey begins. That is the Fool upright. This is Scanlan Shorthalt, the exceedingly suave, kind of can't keep it in his pants, doofus, who really knows how to throw a good insult. So, in terms of inciting incidences, um, eh, hell, in for a penny, in for a pound. Scanlan discovers throughout the stream, the game of Critical Role that he has a daughter that he's never known about. It's what happens when you don't keep your pants on, dude. So maybe the rising action in the story is that the main character has a long lost child they come across. But let us see what the Fool usually means. Okay, so the Fool usually means innocence, new beginning, free spirit. So maybe on this one particular situation, I'm going to indulge the typical meaning of the tarot card because I like the idea of the main character feeling better than they've ever felt now that they're no longer under the thumb at work and feeling, free, even though they've got this babysitter elder. So, okay. So, next up, we have obstacles. So, I'm going to draw a card that's going to be at least one obstacle that the main character and their companion are going to face. So, let's see. This is the Lovers reversed. So, this is Lord and Lady Briarwood. These I think a lot of people can safely say that these two were some of the best villains in Critical Role because the story arc about them is definitely everybody's favorite. So Lord and Lady Briarwood are actually very bad people from one of the main players' past. He is a vampire. She's a sorceress. Spoilers, by the way. And they are mass murderers who dabbled in a lot of bad shit. For all intents and purposes, they're both kind of part of a cult that follows a necromantic king. So maybe that's the obstacle. We got a cult to deal with along the way. Let's see what the lovers usually means when it's reversed. Loss of balance, one-sidedness, disharmony. I like the idea of the cult better. Okay. Next card we are going to draw is the villain card. So this is the main bad guy for the story. So let's see what the cards say. The star reversed. So this is Lady Vexalia. Lady Visar Derolo ne Vexalia Derolo ne Visar. It's a really big mouthful. But she's the half elf ranger played by Laura Bailey on Critical Role. She's a greedy girl. Like, even though she's very endearing and lovable, this girl loves her coin and she will heckle you to death just to save money. So, obviously, the cards are trying to tell us, at least from the Critical Role standpoint, we need a greedy noble lady. Let's see what the star usually means when it's reversed. Okay, when it's usually reversed, the star means faithlessness, discouragement, and insecurity. Yeah, no, that's accurate to Vex. So maybe so I think the main villain is a noble who is very insecure and feels threatened by the main character, but who is also kind of greedy. I kind of want to make her a woman, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so now we're going to get to the climax. So this is going to be the pinnacle of the story. This is where things are going to turn on its head. Things are going to get really real. So let's see what the cards have in mind. Judgment. Interesting. So the Judgment card depicts, I want to say her name was Shay. Uh I think that was her name. But this is a very elderly Goliath woman who I think has a bum leg and lost an arm. So for all intents and purposes, to her to her herd of other wandering Goliath barbarians, she's pretty much lived out her usefulness. She wasn't a grand load of help to the party when she made an appearance. Sorry, Chris Perkins, but you weren't. Chris Perkins played this character on Critical Role. But the good old girl has a hard time dying. So I don't know how we can work that into what could be the climax of the story, but let's see what judgment usually means. I mean, I have an idea, but judgment usually means reflection, reckoning, and awakening. So something within the main character awakens. Okay. So the next card we are going to draw is the falling action. So this is what's going to happen post climax as we get to the end of the story, and how things are going to resolve itself. The sun reversed. Lady Keyleth of the Arashari, voice of the Tempest. The incredibly wise druid who is really not likable by a lot of people because she's so socially awkward. La la la. She's a very reluctant leader because she does not think that she's ready. So maybe what this is trying to tell us is that the main character becomes a leader even though they don't think they're ready. The Let's see what the sun usually means. Okay. The sun reverse usually means negativity, depression, and sadness. I like the critical role meaning better. So she becomes a reluctant leader who doesn't think she's ready. And the final card we're going to draw is the stasis card. So this is what things are going to be like by the end of the story. This is the new stasis. The Chariot. This is Lady Kima of Vord, Paladin of the Platinum Dragon. I believe she's a halfling. Um, Very respectful of her god, but not so much of authority. You gotta earn her respect if you want her to do anything for you. And she's definitely a hero. Maybe that means our main character finally comes into their own and grows a couple of nads. So let's see what the chariot usually means when it's upright. The chariot usually means direction, control, and willpower. So yeah, I think what the cards are trying to say is that by the end of the book, the main character needs to come into their own and understand their own power. All right. So, there is that. Um, I kind of want to. I wish I had an oracle deck so that we could decide what genre this book was supposed to be in. But what I might just do is see what the next card is. The Hanged Man. So I think this is going to be a tragedy. Vaxildon, 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 how you gave us a hard time. I think at the very least the book is going to be dark. So I guess that's kind of a genre. So, there we have all the cards that we drew. I have taken my notes uh on the cards, what I feel like they are trying to say about the story and how we can interpret them. I will put the list of the cards up again. And I just realized I didn't actually list the cards before I. Okay, oh dear. Okay. 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 1, 2, 3. There's that. There's the cult. Okay. So now I'm going to make a list of the cards before I clean them up. Okay. Okay. So, I have a list of the cards now that I am going to post online. You all can interpret the cards as you will. I want to see what other people make of these cards and what kind of stories you write. So, just to recap, here is what our story is roughly going to look like based off of what the cards are telling us. So, our main character is probably going to be a female who is in a very unfulfilled position and who sacrifices her own well-being to make others happy, and it's to a fault. It's not benefiting her. Uh the inciting incident is when she sees a vision of her father's death, and for some reason that sends her on a journey with an elder who is so full of regret that they are trying to uh keep the main character from repeating their actions so that more damage can't be done. While on the journey, our main character starts to enjoy their freedom and maybe they won't return home to their life. An obstacle along the way is a cult, but the main villain is going to be a greedy noble who's insecure and threatened by the main character. The climax is going to be when something inside of the main character awakens. That can honestly be anything at this point. Uh, 6, 7. So that's judgment. So maybe they just rethink their judgment for everything going on in their lives. Uh Once that happens, they will become a reluctant leader, and by the end of the book, they will have strong willpower and be a good, strong leader. Sounds like a pretty interesting short story to me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually kind of excited for this. So, uh, that was my test live stream. I hope number one that you all can see and hear me, and number two, I hope that you found this process interesting. If no one can see or hear what happened on this live stream or in the recording, I'm probably just going to scrap this particular tarot reading, try to fix any issues that I have, and go from there. But yeah, I may just start over with a new set of cards the next time I do the stream. I'm probably not going to be able to stream every single day. I might try again tomorrow if I have some solutions to any problems that have come up, but I can't guarantee anything. So, a worst case scenario, it's probably going to be a week before we come back here, and we're either going to be getting new cards or we're going to start writing the first part of our short story with our main character being unhappy in their low totem pole job where they sacrifice themselves, and we'll maybe get to the inciting incident. I don't know. Anyway, thank you all for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and let's meet again exceedingly soon. Bye, guys.